I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like everybody they tiptoe around with this social media, but what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequence.
The courtroom was unusually quiet, much quieter than anyone had expected. People had shown up thinking it would be a normal legal hearing, just a routine argument about parenting time or maybe a disagreement about what could or couldn't be posted on social media. But what actually happened was something far deeper, something that shook everyone to their core. By the end of it, the whole courtroom felt like it had been turned upside down. Even the judge, someone who had seen her fair share of emotional moments, looked like she was struggling to stay in control. No one expected it to go the way it did. Everyone thought this would be just another chapter in the ongoing issues between Teyana Taylor and Aaron Pierre. But when Teyana walked into that courtroom, something about her was different. Her usual calm and confident energy was gone. Instead, she looked distant, fragile, even, like she was barely keeping it together. She didn't speak to anyone. Not to her lawyer, not to the media outside, and not even to Amon Shumpert, her ex-husband, who quietly sat in the back row of the courtroom with his arms crossed and jaw clenched, like he already knew something serious was about to happen. A few minutes later, Aaron Pierre entered the room. He looked polished and proud, wearing a sharp suit that made him look like he had nothing to worry about. He smiled at his attorney, gave a quick nod to the judge, and briefly glanced over at Teyana. She didn't acknowledge him. She didn't even blink. That's when people in the courtroom started whispering. It was quiet, just murmurs at first, but it was clear, something big was coming. The judge started the hearing like usual, reading names into the record and reminding everyone that this was a legal matter, not a public show. But it didn't matter. The courtroom was filled with tension. And outside, reporters and cameras waited to pounce. Every movement, every word felt like it was being watched, recorded, and judged. Aaron's lawyer spoke first. He painted Aaron as calm, mature, and respectful. He said Aaron had tried to stay peaceful throughout this situation, despite being dragged into the public spotlight by Teyana's fame. He described Aaron as a man who only wanted fairness, someone who had respected Teyana's boundaries and just wanted to co-parent without drama. Aaron sat calmly as his lawyer praised him. He nodded slightly, as if to say, "See, I'm doing everything right." Teyana remained still. Her eyes didn't move. Her hands, however, trembled slightly in her lap. You could tell she was holding in something heavy. When it was time for her lawyer to speak, he stood up, but before he could say a word, Teyana gently touched his arm. Then, slowly, she stood. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I want to speak," she said softly. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the room. Everyone froze. Even Aaron looked up, clearly surprised. The calm confidence he wore earlier started to fade. Teyana began to speak, carefully choosing her words. She explained how hard it was to live under the spotlight while also trying to be a mother. She spoke about the emotional weight she'd been carrying and how this wasn't about revenge or public embarrassment. "This was never about me trying to destroy someone else's life," she said. "It was about trying to keep my own life from falling apart." Her voice shook, but she continued. "I've had to protect my daughter. I've had to protect myself. And I've had to stay silent, even when it hurt." Then came the moment that changed everything. "I didn't want to say this here," she said, looking down for a moment. "But I can't keep pretending nothing happened." She lifted her head and looked directly at Aaron. "I'm pregnant." A wave of gasps echoed through the courtroom. Phones buzzed. People whispered. Even Amon Shumpert sat up straight in the back, eyes wide with shock. Aaron didn't move. His expression was frozen in disbelief. Teyana kept going, her voice shaking. "But steady. And the baby is Aaron's." That was it. The whole room erupted in chaos. The judge slammed her gavel, demanding silence. Reporters outside were already catching the news as it spread like wildfire. But inside, emotions had taken over. Aaron looked stunned. His lawyer leaned over, whispering something, but Aaron didn't respond. His mouth was slightly open, his face pale. He looked like the ground had been pulled out from under him. Teyana's lawyer quickly stepped in, trying to get control of the situation. He handed the judge a stack of printed papers. "Your Honor," he said, "these include text messages and voice recordings from Mr. Pierre to my client." The judge scanned the pages. Her face changed. Her eyes narrowed behind her glasses. "Mr. Pierre," she said slowly, "these messages seem to suggest that you were aware of Miss Taylor's pregnancy and requested that she keep it a secret. Is that true?" Aaron hesitated. Then he muttered, "It wasn't like that." Teyana cut in quickly. "Yes, it was. You begged me to stay quiet. You said if the truth came out, it would ruin your image." You told me we could handle it privately. And like a fool, I trusted you. Aaron's face twisted. I didn't ask for this to happen. Teyana looked him straight in the eyes. Her voice, now firm and clear, sliced through the room like glass. Neither did I. The judge raised her hand, signaling for quiet again. That's enough, she said sternly. We are not here to deal with personal drama, but this changes the nature of the hearing. I need time to review the evidence. The room fell into a heavy silence. The kind that wraps around your chest and won't let go. Teyana slowly returned to her seat. It looked less like walking and more like collapsing, like the weight she'd been carrying had finally won. Her mother rushed to her side, holding her hand tight. Aaron sat completely still, not saying a word. His face was blank, but the silence around him said it all. The fear, the guilt, and the realization that the image he had worked so hard to build had just crumbled in front of everyone. Outside, the media was already in full chaos mode. Headlines were being written as fast as fingers could type. Teyana Taylor pregnant with Aaron Pierre's child, courtroom bombshell, Aaron Pierre exposed. Social media exploded with reactions. Video clips, tweets, comments, and speculation spread like wildfire. But none of that mattered inside the courtroom. Inside, everything was still. The tension didn't go away. It stayed in the air like smoke after a fire, thick, bitter, and impossible to ignore. The judge announced a recess, saying she needed time to go over the new information before making a decision. And just like that, the storm had passed, at least for now. But nothing would ever be the same again. The judge looked down at the paperwork, her face unreadable. Then she spoke firmly, her voice cutting through the silence in the room. I will review this evidence, she said. Until then, I strongly suggest that neither side makes any public statements. But her words came too late. The damage was already done. The truth, or at least a part of it, had already been spoken out loud. And once it's out, there's no taking it back. Everyone in that courtroom had heard it. The truth couldn't be hidden anymore, no matter how much anyone wanted to. Teyana slowly stood from her seat. Her movements were heavy, as if the weight of everything that had just been said was pressing down on her shoulders. She didn't rush. She just rose, quietly, and turned to leave. Before walking away, she paused for one last glance at Aaron. He didn't look at her. He couldn't. That single look from Teyana held too much. It carried every broken promise, every secret kept, and every moment of pain she had buried inside for months. For Aaron, seeing her look at him like that felt like being forced to face everything he had been trying so hard to ignore. All the things he thought would stay hidden had been dragged into the light in front of everyone. Outside the courtroom, Iman Shumpert was already gone. No reporters caught him. He didn't give a comment. He slipped away quietly, like a man who understood that sometimes, silence speaks louder than any words you could say. Sometimes, saying nothing says everything. Teyana walked out not long after him. The media swarmed the exit, flashing cameras and shouting her name. But she didn't stop. She didn't cry, she didn't yell. She didn't even acknowledge the chaos around her. She just walked through it, calm and steady. But it wasn't peace. It wasn't strength that kept her still. It was survival. She had carried this pain for so long, and now that it was finally out, all that was left was exhaustion. The kind of calm she showed wasn't about being okay, it was about having nothing left to lose. She had said what needed to be said, no matter how much it hurt, no matter how many people it shocked. That kind of calm comes after a storm, when you're still standing but barely. Almost 10 minutes later, Aaron finally came out of the building. His lawyer was on one side, a security team on the other. He looked nothing like the man who had walked into that courtroom earlier. His face was pale, and he looked tired. Like the truth had drained the life out of him. Like he had aged 10 years in an hour. Reporters screamed his name. Cameras were flashing nonstop. But Aaron didn't react. He didn't speak. He didn't even seem to see the crowd in front of him. His eyes were blank, stuck somewhere between guilt and fear. His mouth was tight. His shoulders slumped. He looked like a man who had finally realized just how badly he had messed up. Because when the truth comes out, and everyone can see the lies you've been hiding behind, there's no escaping it. No excuse. No do-over. For Aaron, this wasn't just a courtroom hearing anymore. This was the moment everything he thought he had under control fell apart, right in front of the world.